Five.
Absolutely, John. Sorry, I'm just having a bit of a laugh as my dog was just walking behind me. I'm sure the viewers had a nice little chuckle. The wife brought me a sandwich, John, and the dog likes to walk in and see what's going on, see what all the commotion is about. Fnatic, they do go for the OD pickup now, which again is quite intriguing. Uh, Seems okay though. It does tend to mean they want to play a bit more of a slower game once again here on Fnatic's side, but we've seen a bit of OD and it has looked quite potent. Most teams not
Mm.
really having much to deal with the OD as their draft goes on.
Yep, yep. It's nice here because you've got double Astral coming to play, although we haven't seen the emphasis on that when we have seen the OD. But double Astral or Astral into Bloodright, strong combos to have. I'm curious to see just how much damage you can do to the Morph. There's a lot that can come out. There's a lot of pressure here on Moon to really keep that farm up. And we talked about this before. Moon tends to excel more in heroes he can fight early with. OD's not quite that hero. He can, but you do find yourself wanting the eggs first, right? So you just kind of slowly farm up to the eggs before committing. That might slow the pace down here for Fnatic a bit. Execration can punish. They see the mid lane matchup. They're going to have last pick here for Execration. A lot of options for them to go off of.
There is. Final ban out now for Execration. We'll get to see how these drafts finish off. Fnatic lacking a position 1 and Execration lacking their mid laner for now.
10 seconds remain.
Can't wait to see what they do get done with this Omni Knight. I've heard ramblings about the Omni Knight as of late, that it has had an increase in win rate for no apparent reason. It just seems to be how the Omni Knight goes, right? Like everybody just forgets about this hero,
Yep.
and then one day someone just starts playing it, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, this hero is very, very strong. We'll see if Execration can make it work. But for Fnatic, their Raven hero, what's it going to be?
5 seconds remain.
It's a bit tricky. You don't want to pick like a Terrorblade into the Morph, of course. Just counterproductive. You've got this Bloodseeker OD combo. You might look for something that doesn't take as long to farm up. They go with the Drow to play with it. So it doesn't take too much farm for the Drow to be active. Important thing is your tree rate band timings and power treads is key. I'd say you could easily hammer that at 10 minutes latest if your lane isn't going too well. And once you have that, you
10
can run down the lane.
seconds.
You're going to boost up the damage of your OD, and that's basically it.
5
Issues for
seconds
Fnatic
remain.
here. Control isn't looking amazing. You've got this Arrow Astral combination that you can play off of from the laning phase, but beyond that, you might have some awkward moments if you don't have your OD around and you don't have the Arrow. Might be harder to lock those heroes in than you'd expect. I do like this though. It's a bit faster from Fnatic. At least not as slow as, say, the Morphling Doom, so they can get running early on. Execration, they went for the Morphling themselves. They have to look to slow the pace down a bit more, get Palos space, and they do close their draft with a Void Spirit. So you've got
Okay.
a way to jump in the back,
Make the
right?
ultimate
Reach that
choice.
drow and try to burst her down.
What I fear for Execration here with this kind of draft is once we get into that mid to late game, I think that
Mm,
the fights do become very tough. I don't see much team fight from them. Like, you've got the
mm, mm,
sustain from the Omni Knight, but that's pretty much it. Apart from that, it's very single person orientated. You're trying to get a
mm.
single target and then move on from there. You could make the same argument for Fnatic, but when you've got Moon on that OD, that's going to go for the Aghanim Scepter, and he's going to have double Astral Imprisonment. You've got the Mirana arrow to fly in, you've got the Soulbind, you've got the double Rupture, you've got the Bloodright. I don't think
10
Execration's
seconds
draft is
remain.
really going to be able to deal well with what Fnatic's bringing out.
5
Yeah,
seconds.
it's a back and forth. I think you do, because you lack that team fight, you're putting so much emphasis here on BDZ to get some big steals. So the Blood Rights want to watch out for. Even Soulbind would be pretty nice for this lineup on Execration, but there's a lot of pressure there. Execration, what they're looking for is level 6 timings, especially in RR on the pause 5 clock. So once you've got the hook ready, can play faster. You have to punish this drow, prevent it from hitting that timing that we talked about, like 10 minutes in with 3 rate bands and power treads is a scary part for the Drow, and then you build into the Dragonlance, it gets a lot harder to manage her. So Execration do have to play that faster game while buying space for Palos. Have to be wary of that 5v5 as you mentioned. And Fnatic, they've got to make this one work. This one is most definitely faster. We've got Forev on something he's comfy with the Bloodseeker. They've got the DJ Mirano, which is always fabulous to watch. And we'll see how much impact they can have in that early game if they can stem the tide from Execration.
Yeah, should be fun. We'll get into it. Game number 2. See if Fnatic can get their first 2-0 victory over a team. And Execration again, just trying to get a draw if they can. Very curious as well. Again, with this Omni Knight, just Raging Potato going to be in that off-lane Omni. See how effective he can be. Of course, Sustain does prove to be quite annoying in the middle of a team fight. Especially for the other team, but well, there's probably a good reason why we haven't seen the Omni Knight as of late.
Yeah, its presence is very odd, and in this case for Execration, like any duo you have with this Omni isn't like it's amazing. Rubik plus Omni itself, I'd say it needs a few levels. Maybe level 4 is where you really start to feel comfy here on the Omni Knight. There are ways for Fnatic to really apply that pressure. You've got Raven and Zephyr who's going to be up there. So the Grimstroke can just kind of play tag. Stroke of Fate spam, followed by some Frost Arrows, and then once you have the level 2 up with multi-shot, it can be difficult to out-sustain that damage. We'll have to watch Raging Potato's facing. He has seemed on point though. Like earlier today, his first game looked really good. And we'll see if he can maintain that presence in the offlane in this second game.
How can I forget? We have some odds to bring up as well, John. I haven't brought those up yet. One moment though, as we might have a team fight breakout.
The moment you've all been waiting for.
We won't. Looks like Raven will just go in for a quick Frost Arrow onto BDZ, but that's going to be it. And let's have a look at those odds. What's going on here? So Fnatic are going to be the favorites again going into this this game number 2, which is fairly natural, especially considering they did win game number 1. So it is to be expected that they do go, they do have the favorite odds, but still wouldn't really rule out Execration in this game 2. I don't know how to feel about the draft, but just judging by their play in game 1, they certainly have what it takes to beat this team.
Yeah, you can already sort of see those issues in the draft though. Like up top, Raging Potato, he will need to really spam that Purification. A level 1 cooldown is so massive, and there's just so much damage here early on from Zephyr and Raven. Like, you go in, you cop some Frost Arrows, suddenly you're not trading well. Even Zephyr, just running down BDZ. Not the most fantastic moments, and again, it'll take some investment here for Raging to be up and running on that Omni. Just the nature of the hero.
It is. So they did try to push the wave in very, very early up against that Drow and try to get it a farm underneath that tier 1 tower, which is quite hellish for a Drow at level 1. They weren't able to get it done because Zephyr was making sure he committed the Stroke of Fate, and Raven was pushing out the wave, and Raven is now really starting to dominate this lane with those Frost Arrows. Still, we'll have a look at the other lanes. Mid lane, you'll see Ken with, or rather up against Moon. In terms of CS, Ken should have a decent enough time, but it is going to be a matter of these Astral Imprisonments from Moon that is going to make it so he might struggle later on.
Yeah, the big issue in this matchup is, Resonant Pulse isn't going to block that damage that comes out from the Astral, so Moon can shove out these waves fine. They are trading evenly on last hits. The big timer here is level 6. You're going to have a bigger spike from Ken. It's just the nature of the Void Spirit. Really nice level 6 with a step. Santi's not as impactful for Moon. Of course, the power runes are going to be super important as well, and that's where the sports come in. And you can see bot RR. He's really just trying to zone Forev out. It's not been an easy time for a Bloodseeker, which isn't what we're used to seeing for the hero.
No, it has not been. Forev, his objective, of course, again, is to just push out the wave towards the tower and get the level advantage over Palos, but that really hasn't been the case this game, at least for now. just keep it up and see what he can get done. DJ's already left that lane. He'll go down towards the mid lane, and that is a great arrow out from DJ. Perfectly timed. That's one thing we kind of forgot about, John. The Astral Arrow is going to be up for Fnatic.
Yeah, and that just makes those mid rotations a lot more potent. DJ just on the mark. And as long as they keep that up, that's going to stall out the progress for Ken. Not what you want if you're the Void Spirit. He will need some backup. The issue is, if Rubik as a support coming in doesn't have the same influence. So you're going to have to watch that here.
Alright. Gonna go for a battery assault onto DJ. He does still have a leap charge and of course has forever round. So DJ gonna go back in onto Aran. That battery assault is about to wear off. It looks like he can't really safely trade harass here with the clockwork. It might just make another mid rotation. I mean, there's no reason not to. If Moon can hit the Astral, it's gonna mean a guaranteed arrow from DJ and should theoretically mean a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit risky for Ken. He's applying pressure onto Moon. Perhaps start setting eyes on those power runes. Even RR now making his way there to put a bit of a fight here.
Arrow gonna fly through. That will allow DJ to leap in for the regen rune and actually does get a bit of value out of it, as it really wasn't cancelled off for a couple seconds. Not exactly the hero he wanted to give that regen rune to, though. Of course, he would have loved Moon to have it, but there was no option. He had to take it.
Yeah, and you're still satisfied denying that from Ken in the end.
Here
You
we
know,
go.
he... Oh,
Arrow, is it going to be timed? Oh, nice to simulate out. Back into Moon. Ken knows now he can try to go for the OD kill. Almost has it. Can he get a couple more hits in? Not quite. He has to turn back around and run back towards his tier 1 tower, but he has gone too far. He has no spells left, and that should mean DJ gets another arrow out unless the lift comes in from BDZ, but DJ is not done. But Ken eats the Fairy Fire, turns back around with the Simulate, and does kill off DJ on the Mirana. Moon cannot finish off the job. Oh, Ken. He barely makes it work.
and barely doesn't matter when you do live. He's going to be very satisfied with himself. Really good rotation coming out from BDZ, finding that opportunity as well. And Fnatic, it's going to sting a bit. You don't drop Moon, but you are slowing your pace down just a tad by not finding that kill. Execration going to be glad with that.
Lift up.
That was such a long time, though.
Into the Remnant and Assimilate into the Resonant Pulse, and Moon. He's going to lose a lot of HP. Luckily for him, the raindrops did actually save his life. The Fade Bolt could not do as much damage as it should have, but he is going to have to make the walk back to the fountain.
Yeah, it's not what you want there. Still, you've got some pressure up top. You're whacking onto Raging as well.
Raging's going to be slowed down quite a lot from that multi-shot from Raven, and yeah, Raging, he might just be gone. He used the Purification, but Raven can easily just orb walk forward and does get another kill for himself, or rather the first kill for himself. It's going to make him feel very, very happy in the safe lane.
Definitely. It's been a smooth start for a Drow. Take a look at the last hits. #1 so far, Raven. It's that weakness in laning. Raging just can't do as much as he'd want, and since BDZ's forced to rotate mid to help that lane out, you're just not finding a way to stop that Drow.
Oh, DJ kills off Palos down at the bot lane now. Like, he did connect an arrow. It seemed to be enough. DJ has been very influential already on this Mirana, sitting at 2-1. He's going to start rotating through that mid lane, but as I was talking about that top lane, he'll make a rotation and now get Zephyr.
Yeah, it's a worthwhile rotation for our Void Spirit. He's at that level 6 mark, so he is, you know, starting to hunt for those kills. Really important for the Void Spirit to start to escalate. That is one down. Gonna look for more, but Fnatic aren't gonna make that easy. They still maintain a slight net worth lead, and Execration right now, they just need to get some levels up. They're not quite in the spot for them to really go fighting. They need those level 6s to be up and running before really getting any big moves, especially in RR. You need that hook shot up on the clock, start setting up some openings, you know, start exploiting that Drow, but until then, it's going to be a bit trickier.
Well, Palos has to be a bit wary down at that bot lane. It could be very dangerous for him. Rupture going to be out onto RR. Forev looking for the Blood Right, does eventually get it off, but RR is going to be out of that range. But multi-shot is not going to connect RR, just barely surviving. And even the arrow that was meant to fly in from DJ being taken by Ken. Now they look to try and turn back around. DJ, he's going to be just more than safe, I believe. Ken should not have the damage to take out DJ at full HP. And it looks like our Mirana is still going to go on the hunt and see if he can find this Clockwork. And he would be right. He's going to run straight into him. He has the arrow. We'll spot him out, but it's going to be hard to land it. And it looks like DJ is just going to back out.
Yeah, it's not what you want. A bit of a missed opportunity. That does buy space out here. Raging Potato was just free farming top, but you also had that same situation mid. Moon, now level 8, has his power treads, saving up for the Ags. So it's going to be that basic Ags rush on the OD as we tend to see. Once you've got that, you're in a position to start these fights, but Execration aren't going to make that space easy. They're already dragging heroes up top, looking for a kill onto Zephyr.
That should be an easy one to get. Zephyr is just a bit out of position here, and he'll throw the Inkswell out, but that's pretty much all he can do. That'll mean Execration to get another support pick off and can start working towards that top tier 1. However, the bottom tier 1 is already going down from Fnatic. And that does mean they'll have time to go for the defense up top if they wish.
Yeah, I think they're going to be happy enough to just let it go. Pretty much a dead lane for Raven. He's just going to spend his time farming up elsewhere. This does, again, buy them time to keep Moon growing. That's the biggest thing. Moon is still a long ways off until being an influential hero on mid, and they just need to play it safe. Execration is using this time well, having Palos farm up with his Morbid Mask, of course. Doesn't take as much for the morph. He is a bit safer. I love the wards from Execration though. Really deep into that top jungle. Might make it riskier for Raven if he does play in that top jungle. And again, once you've got this hook on RR, which is still a far way off, they can start to hunt there, and makes it a bit threatening for Fnatic if they want to farm safely in that top jungle.
Sad to see RR does not have the new Clockwork hook. He's using a Hammer John, which doesn't make too much sense.
You should give him one, Mike. I'm sure you have 20 copies or something.
I do have a lot of them. I must admit though, I did recycle them now, John. And still didn't get the ultra rare Phoenix. Very, very upset.
Of course. You should ask DJ. Maybe he has a spare.
Probably does. Fnatic showing up in that mid lane once again. There's really been not much attention being set onto Moon, I've got to admit, right? Like, he has had a very free game thus far on that OD. He hasn't bothered to try to go for that Midas build-up, but rather straight into the Ags, and now he'll go for a quick Astral onto the Void Spirit, but Zephyr is again going to be in a spot of danger, and we do actually have a disconnection flying out as DJ. The disconnect from the game. But I do believe that should just be Zephyr dead, and it looks like there will be no rebuttal from Fnatic.
No. That was the first hook shot coming out here for RR. Not quite the target they'd want, but again, you'll take what you can get. This should give Fnatic an idea that their jungle is warded, so they might get the D-wards off, and you might lose that control you have here.
Ken does get up the kill. Arrow gonna fly through with that Astral, connecting perfectly on Palos. But Moon won't be able to focus him down, so instead he'll go after RR. Gets a fair bit of damage off, but that'll be it. Be happy to just leave it at that. And with Fnatic right now, like with their draft, they're just farming so much more efficiently that they just don't seem to really care for big team fights. It is a slower draft, and as long as they are ahead in net worth, they're going to be okay to just keep farming.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Raven here still up there in that word, along with Moon. You're going to see that Dragon lands on the Drow really soon, so 2 Wraith Bands, Dragon lands, that's a very good point. Going to set yourself up for some nice farm.
Yeah, Moon just blows up RR very easily. Uses the Sanity's Eclipse just to get himself a free kill. Nothing wrong with that. Into the mid lane, however, they know the Sanity's is gone, and in fact, PDZ has it now.
Ooh.
Alright, I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal, but you never know. See how he does use it.
Yeah, it's You're not getting much value because of how it's been reworked with the mana difference.
Yeah.
I guess you could try to burn someone down, but probably not the spell he was looking for. I think he actually did want Astral for the control. Still, Execration. You talked about the slow game for Fnatic. They don't mind this, right? Execration still farming on Palos, still finding that farm and morph, and we've seen patience pay off for Morphlings, but the smoke out immediately scanned by Fnatic.
Yeah, it's probably not going to amount to much. Unless Raven sticks around farming in that area, but he does finish the camp off and is now going to rotate to the mid lane. This might cost him. Goes for the multi-shot. Execration actually taking the very long way around, trying to loop through the Dire jungle. They're going to run straight into Moon. Now, Moon should not be expecting this to come. Ara misses the hook shot.
Oh, man.
Oh, you can't do that.
No. They need it to really lock on, and there's that Astral, so you are a bit happier for BDZ. Long journey just for that, not quite worthwhile. And they're probably not going to be able to get push as well. No creeps around, so back to farming. Fnatic making much better use of this time. You do see Palos play catch-up, number 2 in net worth. Has his Yasha up. Gonna be the Manta next for him on that morph. And once you've got that, you feel a bit safer.
You do. He's going to need it up against the silence of the Drow, of course, and even Zephyr's silence. But Fnatic, I mean, they've started forcing this mid-tier 1 tower now. They are going to be a little bit challenging to stop, as they do have the superior team fight at this stage of the game. Especially with that Bloodseeker. You've got the Veil of Discord up, with the Blood Right, it's going to hurt. Execration, they've got to try and slow this down, but again, it is very, very tough.
Yeah, I mean, they're stalling it out. You can see the clump up. It's just so risky to open, although.
Ken will jump in for a bit of damage, but look at Raven. He's gone onto that clock. RR's going to die, and now you've got the Rupture out onto Ken with the Soulbind and the multi-shot to fly through. But Moon, he got the Astral out, going back onto BDZ, and that's going to mean that Ken is just stuck to take so much damage. He's trying to run. He'll get the Astral step on. But they are going to be able to confirm that Tier 1 tower going down, surely. Again, I just don't see Execration being able to stop this.
No, it's very difficult, although.
Again, he does go to Zephyr. Fnatic not going to fight back. They're actually going to back off now. That was a little bit surprising considering Ken just jumped in by himself. Perhaps assuming there was more behind him, they did not want to take the risk. Now Palos is just straight up going to front line on that T1 mid tower.
Yeah, now it's their turn to shove in. Now you do have the Santis drop ready to go on Moon, but it does look like they're just being really cautious until the Axe comes out. They don't have Soulbind, so no double Rupture to come out here, and that tower just ticks away fast. Palos does right-click hard.
He does. There it goes, that Tier 1 tower. Almost has that Manta up. Fnatic, I mean, I understand the slow play, but they do have to be wary. I mean, it is still a Morphling.
Yep. You know, they just ran that one slowly. They know what happens when you give space out. They haven't really punished Palos. They found 1 kill. Now they're just kind of leaving him alone. He's very close to that Manta. And then once you get into the E-Blade, well, the damage really starts to skyrocket. And we haven't even considered that, you know, Palos hasn't turned into Forev, you know, hasn't turned into the Bloodseeker for the Blood Right spam. There's a lot from Execration that will start to come out as you take your time here. It's not like Fnatic has a massive lead as well. They're just slightly ahead, less than 1k. So they've really got to find a way to widen that. There's that Ags on Moon. So the double Astral coming in, you can really start to stack up those Eclipse charges to give yourself more mana for the drop. You're going to have to make use of this with a big reveal.
Do you want to go for a smoke here if you're Fnatic? It's actually Zephyr getting caught out again. He was trying to get some wards out, but it's going to be fairly obvious where they are now. However, Raven ends up killing off RR, who was also out of position. Now the Moonlight Shadow going to be out from Fnatic. They want to take this team fight.
Yeah, reminds me a lot of Game 1, Mike. That timings that we were hitting here in Fnatic are being met by Execration. Of course, you've also got farm trickling down to the other cores. Raging does have his drums up on that Omni Knight. Is going into the Yule's build. He's going to have a lot of control, a lot of utility come out on that Omni. It makes it a bit harder to catch him out. Still, you've got progress here. Hurricane Pike on Raven and they smoke.
They still want to try and make use of that new ads.
Impact. Dire are scanning for enemies.
They're not going to be able to get anything, just some wards.
Oh.
Aether Remnant going to fly in. Won't really catch any... Well, it does catch Zephyr in the end. The thing is, while you're doing all this smoking around, you know, Palos is around farming. This is not really favoring Fnatic to do this. I don't believe.
No. And yeah, Execration. They smoke up now. They might find some good punishment here. There are no defensive items on Fnatic, and without BKBs, without anything like that, if you get a good jump, you're very vulnerable.
Well, they're going to find a really big target in Raven. They need that hook shot. Not going to be there, but there's your Yule Scepter flying out with an arrow to come through, and it actually connected on your Void Spirit, but Ken is still going to be fine. Now he does get ruptured, however. Sanity is going to be a complete whip. No, it wasn't. Ken does die. Zephyr also caught out on the Grimstroke. Will be astraled up by Moon, who will protect him for now, and Zephyr does eventually survive, and they have even another, or perhaps Fnatic have one. Raging. Very, very deep in that tree line, does end up dying to Raven, who does now get a double kill.
That's really not good news now for Execration. That is still space for Palos in the end, but you are giving a lead to Fnatic. You're going to be very happy with that. A small mistake coming out from Ken. He was ruptured up. He tried to step off, and he does die in the end because of trying to make those plays. And that opens up that mid push. And they don't even have Riven around too close by, but they're going to find this tower if you're not careful here.
They are. It's really not going to be that hard either. They're going to take it down very simply.
Middle tower is no more.
Fnatic, they're back to it now. Still just slightly behind the Morphling in terms of farm is Raven, but he's getting there. Zephyr, well, caught out again. Trying to get those wards out, but you'd rather get it out when your whole team's around you, not just by yourself.
Yeah, it's been a bit awkward for Zephyr, but they are getting the information out. Execration, they're starting to fall behind a bit. It's a 2k advantage for Fnatic, not massive. So it's not anything that's unworkable or unplayable, but look at the farm of Ken and Raging. They're just so far behind. 500 behind Forav, but the full 2,000 behind Moon and Raven, which is not what you want. We talked about the timings of at least that Void Spirit being faster, and it's going to be a bit stalled out now. He's rushing the Ags as well here on Ken's side. Once you've got that, the silence is going to be massive, especially if you catch Moon. Look at this. They're still smoked up here, Fnatic.
Right again, huh? So Raging's going to break the smoke and spot them, but Moon does get the Aether Remnant off. Arrow is going to land in the end. He went for the Heavenly Grace first. Raging, falling low, still alive, does get the Yules off, and now the follow-up arrow from BDC, not going to be timed well. Not going to land. Fnatic still trying to chase a kill down and won't actually be able to get one. So you'd still call that a win if you're Execration. So you just got away, and well, they're going to try again. BDZ caught by the Astral, but now RR going in with the hookshot cogs and the Aether Remnant to latch on. BDZ still very low. He can't walk away due to that Bloodseeker and does still survive, but the arrow now does connect from DJ. Still a 1-for-1. Rev has gone down. Ken again with the Aether Remnant. But here comes Raven with that multi-shot. Now the Soulbind out from Zephyr and the Sanity's Eclipse from Moon is going to blow up Palos. And they'll also get RR on the clock, and Moon is not done. He's looking for more Astrals and more heroes, and he is getting them. 2 more. He'll be able to Astral step out and Raging. He's going to try and walk his way out of there, but it is just so much damage output flying in. Raven also going to be around with the Frost Arrows, but will not have enough. Still a successful team fight out for Fnatic, however.
Yeah, definitely so. They find the bigger kills. They do manage to get an additional kill on Palos. That's the big one that hurts Execration. You're so close to the shotgun and morph. You don't want to stall it out any further, but Fnatic, they're just on top with kills. You do have to sit back a bit. Santis is gone for a fairly long time. So you're going to sit back, build that farm up. You can see Raven going for the SNY here on the Drow. Gonna have that Sanch up soon. Boost this durability and of course boost this damage up once that's done. You take a look at Forev. It's the straight Dagon rush. I love seeing this in Bloodseeker. Dagon's flying up. Of course, once he gets Blood Rage off on himself, you will melt heroes. So big spikes coming out for Fnatic once those line up. Execration, 4k behind, still not bad. You need to play catch up here as Ken and Raging are still not in healthy spots in these 2 heroes. You do have this boon though. I mean, BDZ, when he has a Blood Right, you can just shove those waves out safely.
Zephyr getting it used up. The Aether Remnant going to lock him in, but Astral is going to save from Moon. Rev going to move in now as they do get the Soulbind out. Do you want the Rupture? Yeah, they do. In the multi-shot out from Raven. Hook shot from RR, not going to connect. There's your Blood Right. Now from BDZ, but RR trying to block the way off with the cogs does get punished. And 1 for 1 on the supports, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, it's not too bad for both sides. Losing just your pause 5s, basically. You're still pretty happy about this if you're Fnatic, although they did have to expend some spells, so Execration has some room to breathe. They don't have to worry about the Rupture. They don't have to worry about the Soulbind for a minute. That's time they can use to safely farm up and continue to build up if they want to.
Roshan's going to be started. They will give up on that as it is a bit dangerous as Fnatic was roaming in with the Moonlight Shadow. You'd really love to see that Aghanim Scepter come out on Ken very soon, because that silence will pay some dividends here for Execration. They are very close as well, just about 1k off that Aghanim Scepter. It's big smoke up from Fnatic. Trying to get aggressive once again. Forev trying to scout out with the Bloodseeker, looking for a Rupture opportunity. But they're going to go after Raging Potato and BDZ. RR going to hookshot him with a nice cogs pushback. Meanwhile, Forev still playing around with Palos. Doesn't bother using the Rupture on the Morphling, but just lets him walk out. They are going to try for the Roshan.
Yeah, you know the hook is gone for about a minute, so you've got some free time. The Rosh does melt fast with the damage you've got here. That's going to be the first Rosh of the game if you're not careful for Execration.
Zephyr. Use that Ink Swirl to try and zone out Execration. They don't want to allow that hook shot in from RR, and now they're just going to dive RR. Speaking of, Moon actually getting a double kill just down south. He kills off Palos and Raging. Meanwhile, up north, Ken does kill off Zephyr. They've lost RR on the clock. Forev now trying to control up Ken. He has been ruptured. He really has nowhere to go. And Moon will get started with the astral imprisonments into the arrow. That'll be a full team wipe and a guaranteed Roshan.
That's a good time for Fnatic, and that is why you can't underestimate the damage output of an OD. Like, he was just purely right-clicking. The Guardian Angel is up. That does not save you from the damage of the OD. He just builds up anyway, gets the multiplier up, drops the hammer, and you're gone. You need some defensive items coming out here for Execration, and you do see Palos queue up that BKB, but he is such a long way off. That's going to be a constant issue for the next 4 to 5 minutes until that BKB is up. That just means the Morphling, even though you have this E-Blade, you're not finding the openings you want.
Oh, they caught out RR. Clockwork gonna die again. It's a very sad game for RR, John. He's just at level 8.
Oof.
That is rough.
It's painful. They haven't been able to maximize those early hooks or any early openings, and this defense is really hard.
Rupture. Be committed forever.
Ooh.
Just gets BTS in the back. Four staffs him while he's ruptured. Arrow gonna fly through. Palos trying to deal with Forev, but now we'll get Astral into the Blood Ride and does get silenced, but he does mantle it off. But there's another Astral. Coming out, Palos gonna fight back now as RR does hook shot in with a decent cogs, but he will die to Raven. Moon was trying to get some more Astrals off, but can't quite get there. Fnatic suddenly have a 14k net worth lead.
Yep, gonna be very happy with that. High ground, very easy with a drought. Look at that. Even without the Venge, Mike, very balanced way of pushing the towers.
It is. Multi-shots, just flying out, getting a bit of damage off onto Palos, making him feel uncomfortable. Back into that tier 3 tower, it is very, very close to falling, but Ken gonna try and delay it with the Yule Scepter. It's just such a hard defense as Raven just trying to kill off BDZ, but it's gonna cost him his Aegis. Bit of an overextension. Do they want to continue with this fight? Arrow is going to land onto RR, and that should mean your Clockwork's down, but no, the Aether Remnant. Going to lock down Forever long enough. And T1, it looks like they just don't want to push without the Aegis. They don't feel quite confident. They're going to let this one go.
Yeah, it's a bit risky. Sieging the high ground without that second life. You can see how fast Raven melts. He does not have defensive items up. So there's no BKB in our Drow, only really has the Hurricane Pike to play with. It's a bit scary. Just play it safe. They've got to step up. They've got this Dagon flying out for Forev, who does get arrowed.
Jump in, mid lane. Zephyr caught out of the tree line, but they're going to push him back with the cogs. So Zephyr's going to survive, for now anyway, and RR going to get the gust off on top of him, so with that Astral, he's gone. Bit of a mistake there. You don't want the cogs pushback. You want to lock him in the cogs.
Yeah, it's a costly mistake to make as well. 2 supports down. Short cooldown, so. But you can see that Raven finds the opening to go into the higher ground. Tier 3 melts. Rack's not going to be for long. They need to find a way to make this team fight work. They need to somehow get Ken up in front and find the damage.
Raven slowly chipping away, but the repair kit is going to make it so he decides better off trying to take down the racks for now. Still plenty of farm to be had, and he's actually sitting on 1.5k and gets his own repair kit now. It's very, very nice. Doesn't seem like Fnatic's really going to need that repair kit, but you never know. So Raging, it's very, very far forward. Very confident play here from Raging. Rupture is out as well. They got BDZ, but BDZ will return the Rupture back onto Forever. And now the hook shot's in from RR. And it turns out it was Fnatic that was overly confident. Yules is out onto Zephyr. He'll get the Soulbind out, but RR is already going to go down. DJ looking to reinitiate with Moon, and they do get the Hex off. It's going to be alright for now, but DJ is looking for an arrow. He's going to throw it out, but does miss out onto Ken. Still Ken takes so much damage off Raven. Fnatic, do they want to go for the high ground push again?
They've got the Sandteeth Eclipse up. There's that Hex as well on Moon for the added control. If they get enough right clicks on the OD, that hammer's going to really melt through these heroes. So they could if they wanted to, but the safe play is to wait for Forev and be patient. I mean, they've still got a 17k lead. There's no rush. Execration are the ones that are kind of stuck against the wall, and it's really down to them to figure out to pull that combo off once more. Punish those overextensions if you can. Fnatic, yeah, they're just gonna have to be a bit cautious of that burst. It's still there for Execration.
It is. Top lane, good. Oh, good. Hook shot in from RR.
A little advice. Stay dead.
Yeah.
Well, Raven gonna try and get a team fight started. They are gonna have to back out of there. There's no point in being here any further.
Regeneration.
That was a big one on Moon, man. That was his first death into the entire game. Godlike streak given away, and gotta be careful here.
Palos gonna get ruptured, but he'll just stand his ground. They know without Moon that Fnatic aren't gonna go for a team fight. That's fair. So Fnatic back to their own triangle. Execration maybe just feeling a bit invigorated now after that kill onto the OD. Gonna move back in. Not quite able to catch anyone out, but they could try to pressure this mid tier 2 tower while they can. And that does appear to be the game plan here for Palos. In fact, he might just be able to take it down.
Yeah, it's just so difficult now. There's a BKB flying out for Palos. He actually has it already. So even if you were going to counterfight, Palos with that spell immunity, it's going to be such an annoyance to deal with. Even Raging Potato. Like, if he's alive with that Heavenly Grace, your control is just shut down so much from Fnatic. You need to find a way to deal with that because it's just ruining their combos. We've seen a lot of missed arrows. We've seen them not be able to set up and follow up from that. Have to be aware of that. Like, Raging's actually starting to put the work in despite that slower start.
The mid lane. Gonna move down to the bot lane now. Execration might try for a sneaky smoke or might just decide to defend the high ground. Now, Fnatic don't seem interested. I mean, the Roshan, we are going to find out in about 10 seconds when it's up. So it may be worth the wait here for Fnatic.
Yeah.
Not to mention there is also a double damage rune down at that bot rune spot now. So that might help.
Raven gonna be very happy with that. Is about a part off from finishing off his butterfly too, so gonna have a nice spike once that's up. You can see the emphasis now on defensive items.
Bit easy. You got a rupture off onto Raven, but he's been astral. Moon just going to keep Raven safe, but Palos closing the gap now onto that drow. Raven doesn't want to die like this, but he has no choice in the matter. Soulbind is going to be there. Moon will turn around now with the Hex. They do go back onto RR. Palos could be in a spot of trouble here, or maybe not. They'll use up Moon, hold him down with the Aether Remnant, and now get the silences off. So Moon also going to go down, back in onto DJ. Palos, he gets a triple kill. Even Zephyr still around, and that's going to be a 4-for-1 trade. An unexpected smoke from Execration for sure. But I don't know what to say with Fnatic, John. They're taking too long to make objectives happen, I think.
They're being punished for that, for sure. Like, even with a BKB and Raven, you really need more coming out here from the rest. And they just went full burst. There's just no way for them to stand and fight. It's only Raven that really feels comfy. And just like that, Execration, they're going to go in the pit. A huge network swing their way. Aegis and cheese for the taking. Fnatic, you start to feel a bit worried about that kind of play. That was Raven with a DD. He was a bit too far forward. They need to get their spacing right. You have to stop letting Moon and Raven be the frontliners. It's got to be one of the supports or Fora, but not those two big cores. They're so vulnerable in the front. And now, Execration, well, they've got a lot to play with. They've got this durability up. On Palos, he even has a Lincoln, so he went all in on defensive items, and it's paying off in a big way.
It is. Triangle is there. BDZ jumping in with the Ink Spell of his own, and now they are looking to just blow up forever, and they do. Onto Raven. That'll be a massive pick-off if they can catch him, but they could not get the cogs around Raven. He's going to be okay. Still forever. Very nice pick-off here, and Execration. Well, they can't really get many objectives right now because the bot wave has been pushed back in their way. So it's going to be a little bit challenging to go after those bot towers. And they can't really go high ground either, it seems. So instead, they'll go back and see if they can pick off one of these Fnatic heroes. So DJ is going to be able to escape.
Bottom tower is no more.
He'll be just fine. He'll go for the tree line, and 20 seconds in, he'll have a TP available.
Yeah, he's gotten Ags as well, flying in the long way on the hidden forest. So it's gonna have that second star storm. Comes out for free. Uh, really excellent timing, excellent micro to get that out. Should be able to cut that wave once more, and that's all Fnatic wants. Stalling this game out until you feel more confident in Moon and on Raven. That butterfly timing we were talking about, it's been offset so much. Like he can't even get it out because his courier's gone Raven, so gonna have to wait a bit more. That lead just down to 4K. It's not what you like to see here, but they did bleed out. Execration's putting up a really big fight and just makes it harder to really do what you want as Fnatic.
We are approaching that mark now where we do have the tier 4 items up, so both teams just going to focus in on trying to get those. Raven getting very lucky, does pick up a leveler, so it's going to definitely help them get those high ground pushes going, but for now he's actually going to take the Prince's Knife, which will help quite a bit, right? Because the Drought does have a bit of a slow projectile. So increasing that speed is going to make it so they might be able to fight back faster, but DJ gonna die. RR connecting with the hook, looking for a bit more, but this might be time for Execration. They want to try and go for the big high ground push.
Yeah, and they've got the damage. Palace is looking massive, has his 25 up. They have a lot of time in that age, just about 2 minutes left. Really safe, forces out the fourth, and Fnatic, they've got to find a way to get Moon to stack up on that Sanity's charges. If you can get them high enough, you can still burst these heroes down with the Sanities, but you also need to be very cautious about when the BKBs are up. If you drop that Sanity's Eclipse at the wrong time, the damage might not even come out at all.
Even Palace has got a leveler. Gonna be very nice for him. Yeah, he's not gonna try and force the high ground any further, so it looks like they are just gonna take their sweet time. Seems like they aren't in too big of a rush. That net worth lead slowly closing back in for Execration, and it's been a bit of a wild game. You look at Dota Plus, John. When's the last time you saw a graph like that from Dota Plus? I guess the answer is last game, but it's still looking pretty rough.
It's not swimming here for Fnatic. They do have the butterfly up on Raven, so he can get a lot more damage out. He's getting more value with his marksmanship as well, but you're stuck in this high ground. Yeah, it's survivability. Like, he's had this BKB for a while. You really want Moon to have one as well, and then you might be happy, but I think you're gonna need a nullifier here just to get some form of dispel off on the opposing side, just get some control off, and they're gonna smoke with that pickup anyway with Raven. Let's see if the damage is gonna overcome this.
It's gonna be tough. His main problem... Another
Did
smoke.
they double?
Yeah, they did. Palos gonna have the Rupture, but the Lincolns will break. And that is gonna be very unfortunate for Fnatic, as they are not gonna be able to get away with the smoke now, and Ken is gonna try and go after Moon, but Moon will pop the BKB in time. Wait, it wasn't even his BKB.
Yeah, it's a Minotaur Horn.
Oh,
Still?
Minotaur Horn, right.
Yeah, they stalled long enough. Aegis expires, so Palace does not have that second life. Might be a risky spot, but they just popped the Ninja Gear. Maybe Palace finds a solo pick-off. Fnatic now, awkward spot. No smokes left. Forced up into the ground. Gonna have to be safe. There's a Scotty up now, and Palace as well.
But Scotty is when things get scary. For the other team, that is. Palos gets started on that bottom tier 2. Again, he does still have the leveler in the backpack. He's just not committed to using it yet. I guess there's really no need for it when you've got an Illusionist Cape and a Ninja Gear, but see if he does swap it out for the high ground attempt. And, well, Fnatic, what's left for him? I mean, Raven's trying to go for an Eye of Skadi now. Moon is trying to finish off his own BKB. Again, they've got to be so careful not to give the Rupture away to beat easy.
Yeah, that's been a big one. Forev, you have to be really quick on your fingers, but BDZ is just a bit faster. They're gonna need to clear that up. They do smoke again. Fnatic, they're still desperately trying to find that opening here.
Again, could be a great target to pick off, but he also has a Linken's. Luckily this time it was not the Rupture. It was just an Astral from Moon. Palos gonna get up and break the smoke, but now RR. Great hook shot into Raven, but he goes for the Cogs pushback again. Moon is in trouble. They're gonna jump in onto that OD, but he does have a BKB this time and should be able to force stuff out, but Palos chasing him down. Moon, he can't survive it. He does die to the morph with no buyback, but now they got the gust off onto Palos, but it looks like he will be saved as they do jump back onto Raven, and Raven, he's trying to force stuff away, but it is not going to be enough. He goes down, and even Zephyr now going to be chased. Ken, Linken's Sphere is broken by the Dagon of Forev. Zephyr with the flicker, barely able to get out. Never mind, BDZ does kill him. Now Palos going back in onto DJ, does blow him up. And there's your T3 tower going down. There's 3 heroes down with no buyback right now on Fnatic, and this game could be over. They have the level up, they're going to go for it. In fact, hookshot is not going to connect with the block out, but it doesn't matter. They get the kill, and this looks to be GG. There it is, the call's been made.
Oh, Fnatic. I mean, they had a massive lead this time. They make the same mistake Execration does in game 1. They let Palos farm for too long. Morphling comes online. Their draft had set timings here from Fnatic. They play it too slow. They feel too confident into the late game. They get punished. Very well played from Execration this time around, holding out, believing in Palos. The investment pays off. Fnatic, it's so up and down. Like, this roster is doing a lot better than the first days we saw here in the BTS Pro Series, but the consistency needs to be hammered in. There's a little aspect still lacking in Execration because of that. They do manage to draw this series out.
Well, with that, John, we are going to move on to our next series, and this is what I'm very excited about. And I know you are too. We were having a brief chat about this before. So 496 is going to be up against Among Us for our next series. Of course, for anyone that was here yesterday, 496 did have to forfeit up against TNC, as they did have some health issues. And speaking of health issues, just so everyone is aware right now, 458 will not be playing. He has had to take a couple days off, I believe, due to those health issues, and they will have Red back in, who's their old offlaner. Of course, we did see Red in the earlier days of the BTS Pro Series Season 3, playing with 496, so he's going to be taking the carry role for 458. But as we know, John, the players tend to switch up the roles quite a bit, so we don't actually know who's going to play carry. We just know that Red is going to be taking over for 458 until he is okay and ready to go again. They did release a bit of a statement on Twitter today, so that's how I am aware of that. If you didn't follow them, you probably should, because then you would be notified as well. It's 496_Dota on Twitter. Otherwise, we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes for that next game. And like I said, John, it should be a very, very fun one. We'll see you very soon.